Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Pritam Singh and I visited the San Jose Gurdwara yesterday for this 4th annual Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji conference, which is being sponsored by Charity Ka Law Foundation and SikhNet, which is a Yogi Bhajan organization. I want to give the Sangat an update on exactly what happened there. First, Pritam Singh and I visited the Sri Guru Granth Sahib there and did our Mata Teg. Then we met with some Gur Sikhs there, Gurpreet Singh and Harleen Kaur. Unfortunately and sadly, Pritam Singh's shoes were stolen. And it's sad that this is such a large Gurdwara. It's one of the largest ones in the world, actually. And it's very rich and has a very large Sangha, that this would happen there. Now, this was sort of a signal for what was coming. I had had conversations with Tarlochan Singh, who was on the board of directors in past years, but he said that he was kicked off the board and there's a lot of un-Sikh-like things that are happening now there as a result of this new board. So Tarlochan Singh has been bravely fighting to get reinstated and get proper elections there to elect Gur Sikhs to the board there. Now, the other thing that I noticed that is alarming is there was actually yoga classes going on there at the Gurdwara. And I was just shocked to hear them chanting Hindu mantras, similar to what the Yogi Bhajan people do. And I think this is probably some influenced by the Yogi Bhajan people, no doubt. So let's hope and pray that the Gurdwara there does not get into all of these un-Sikh-like activities that the Yogi Bhajan people are leading them into. Now, there are a lot of other indications that there's this connection here between the Yogi Bhajan people, SikhNet, and this Gurdwara there in San Jose. At the registration, which you can see a picture of here for this Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji conference, they were passing out Yogi Bhajan literature. And I took a picture here of the table where they were actually having very young Sikhs stuff these bags. And really disgracefully, the bags show Sri Guru Granth Sahib conference. And they were stuffing them with these Yogi Bhajan mantras, which are completely against Sikhi. You can see here the bag. And here is the copy of the mantra that was put in the bag there, Yogi Bhajan's 7 Steps to Happiness. It has nothing to do with Sikhi. Yogi Bhajan puts his mantra up there to do for 11 to 31 minutes. This is completely against Sikh Rehat Maryada. We don't do mantras, we don't do tantras as Sikhs, but yet the Yogi Bhajan people in SikhNet have stuffed this bag with the Sri Guru Granth Sahib with Yogi Bhajan's Biyadbi. Here you can see again that table in the registration. You can see the list over here of the people attending, and then the bag, and then the schedule, and then the Yogi Bhajan flyers. You can also see another SikhNet flyer there. So then we went to the conference, and you can see here a picture of some of the attendees there. Now I will say that there was some very nice kirtan by some young Sikhs, and they were playing traditional rags. It was very nice and very uplifting. Then they had a panel which was made up of, they called it randomly selected Sikhs. That is completely untrue. You can see here Gurmastik on the extreme left, the Satsantok Singh, they're in white, and then a Gagan Singh who is partial to 3HO, and then you can see here another Sikh who's a college student, and then another Sikh here at the end, this woman, who's completely new to Sikhi and doesn't know anything about, well, I shouldn't say anything, but she's very new to Sikhi and doesn't really have a long history or a knowledge of Sikhi. So then the moderator, this Machanda, the chairman of SikhNet, Surjit Singh Manchanda, he was the moderator of this panel. And he asked for questions after the panel had talked a little bit. And so people wrote them out on these cards. That's the way you were supposed to do it. So Pritam Singh and I were sitting in the front. We went along with this, passed in our cards. You can see Gurmastik here in the Satsantok. Oh, by the way, it was supposed to be a panel, as they listed here. A panel discussion with young Sikhs is the way it's listed in the program. Well, Satsantok is not young. He's in his 70s, and Gurmastik is in his 40s. So this is certainly not young people. But they packed this panel with these 3HO Tantra Kundalini yogis. So anyway, this Achanda, chairman of SikhNet, he asked these questions and read from these cards that were passed to him. Now, he went through these cards, and clearly you can see here I videotaped how he threw out the cards he didn't want to, the questions he didn't want to read, which was, mine was one of them, by the way. I asked about how they related Sikhi to Yogi Bhajan's Tantric and Kundalini Yoga, how it would look in 500 years. That was kind of the topic. He talked about how Sikhi would look in 500 years. Anyway, he just passed completely on my card. Then Pritam Singh's card, he actually changed and censored what Pritam Singh said in his card. He left out the part about yoga that Pritam Singh had asked about, how it relates to Gurbani and how they can justify doing yoga, physical exercise. So this Machanda did a sneaky move, and he censored the comments of Pritam Singh. Here you can see him here shuffling the cards and putting aside the cards that he doesn't want to read. Now, the next person talking was actually I.J. Singh. He was not there, but they had a video conference with him, actually just audio. Now, I'll say that during that question Q&A, there were Sikhs that stood up and just verbally gave their questions to I.J. Singh. And they didn't have this card nonsense with a moderator. So this happened all through I.J. Singh's Q&A. So then Ekon Karkar, another philosophical writer there from SikhNet, she came up and she gave her talk. And I will mention that Ekon Karkar has a long history with Yogi Bhajan's Tantric Yoga. You can see her here, right here next to this Desha Garuka Singh from SikhNet. She's right there in the middle, in white. And she's doing these Yogi Bhajan Tantra mantras while worshipping this golden idol of Siri Chand. The Yogi Bhajan Tantric yogis worship Siri Chand, and they're worshipping at Yogi Bhajan's death place, even though Guru Gobind Singh Ji told us not to worship at the graves of the dead. Now here's another really questionable picture of Ekon Karkar doing some of Yogi Bhajan's Tantric Kundalini Yoga. And need I say any more? This is just not becoming of a Sikh. She's clearly touching a male over here and engaged in something that is just completely un-Sikh-like, and somebody who calls themselves a Sikh should not be doing. The problem with these Yogi Bhajan people is they do what they want, what feels good. Now, I'm going to play for you the audio and video that I took when I stood up and started to ask my question to Ekon Karkar. After she finished her speech, I waited for their Q&A. And keep in mind that they weren't reading my cards, and they were censoring and editing my comments and comments of Pritam Singh. So I decided just to stand up and address Ekon Karkar directly with my question. So listen to this, and we'll talk about it after you've listened to it.
So let us have some maybe some questions. Please make sure you write.
Khalsa,
The question will be
Yes.
taken in writing on this thing, and I will announce that.
I'd like to ask a question right now.
Write the question, please.
I have a direct question to Ekon Karkar. You stated in a 3HO Kundalini Yoga teacher training video, there is an oral Punjabi tradition.
We're taking questions through the card and we're
I'm speaking to you as a Sikh, and I'd like to ask you this question directly. I would like to ask you this question directly.
Okay, you can't see Ekon Karkar. She's off to the left there. And the moderator is actually going to let me proceed. Because we'd had this already set up as a protocol that other Sikhs had asked questions directly to the speaker. But now Ekon Karkar clearly does not want to answer my question. She knows that I'm going to ask a critical question that she doesn't want to answer. Listen to her again.
I'm speaking to you as a Sikh, and I'd like to ask you this question directly. I would like to ask you this question directly.
We have a problem.
What is wrong with me? I'm in the Sangat, and I'm a Sikh, and I'm asking another Sikh a direct question.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask it. I don't want to fool around with a card. I want to ask her directly the question.
Yeah, but it depends on.
Is this okay with the Sangat?
I would be grateful to answer questions that come in from the talk that I just gave.
Let's follow the protocol.
Let's follow the protocol. Let him ask.
Let me ask the question. It's just a very simple question.
Could you ask me what the question is?
Okay, the question we are, we are receiving questions in the process which we have already declared.
Okay, so it's clear that they don't want to answer these questions, and they knew I was coming. I posted on Facebook that I'd be asking these questions, and they had set this whole conference up to censor the Sikhs, to censor Pritam Singh and I, so that they didn't get the questions, the speakers didn't get the questions that would be critical against them. They just delivered them softball questions and weeded out any questions that would be critical. Now, I want to point out this woman here. Her name is Siri Akal. She likes to think of herself, she's part of 3HO and a long-time Yogi Bhajan follower for about 40 years. She likes to think of herself as like the matriarch of all Sikhs in Northern California. You can see her here taking this completely defensive posture, glaring at me. I'm sitting down in the seat there, and she's just glaring at me, and how dare I ask some quick question there. It would be critical. Now, this woman, I know a lot about her. I've known her for 30-some years. She's not really a Sikh. You can see her here wearing all these gold bangles. She doesn't wear a kirpan. And she abides by this Yogi Bhajan manmat. She follows Yogi Bhajan religiously and worships him. Here is a float in the Nagar Kirtan that Siri Akal formed and led. This was a few years back. You can see her there up on the right-hand corner with the sunglasses on. That's her. And so what's interesting about this float here is it says here, "We are Sikhs." And they somehow felt like it was necessary for them to declare in a Sikh parade that they were Sikhs. It's kind of funny. It says Gurbani Yoga and meditation. So they're trying to clearly put yoga and meditation with Gurbani. And as I pointed out, these tantras and mantras of Yogi Bhajan are not part of the Sikh Rahat Myriada. They're not part of a Gurbani either. So anyway, after I decided that there was just no point in continuing, I couldn't overshout the person with the microphone. And I felt like it just wasn't appropriate to make a big scene there. I sat down and I listened to the rest of their talk. They went on with their verbal diarrhea and just answered these softball questions. You can see Siri Akal over here trying to cover Ekon Karkar, who was actually, I felt like, had a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty about this whole situation. But Sri Pritinkar jumped in there and took over there. Now I want to point out a lot of these other Yogi Bhajan un-Sikh-like practices, which you've probably seen before, and this is what I was trying to address. The exact question I was wanted to ask her here in this conference was, you, speaking to Ekon Karkar, you stated in a 3HO Kundalini Yoga teacher training video that there is an oral tradition in Punjab that shows a lineage of Yogi Bhajan's Tantric Kundalini Yoga coming from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to his son, Baba Siri Chand, and then to Guru Ram Das Ji. Please explain how you arrived at this lineage. And what basis does it have in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji's teachings, if any? Now, you can see here are some pictures of the Baba Siri Chand idol that they have there in Espanola, New Mexico. And this brown building here is where it's located. Right there in front of the SikhNet offices and their Yogi Bhajan Dera. There's a Gurdwara there too. They call it a mandir, actually. You can read it right there, which means Hindu temple. Here you can see the SikhNet offices. Entrance to the Gurdwaras here and SikhNet offices are attached to the same building that Baba Siri Chand idol is at. They put offerings at his feet. They bow at it. Gurmastik says here, or Guruka says here, one of the directors over the SikhNet, no one here worships idols in any way. This is a completely false statement. And it's interesting too, Guruka has really done some despicable things, disrespectful of Gurbani. He has taken Yogi Bhajan's fingernails and put them in his nitnam, his Gutka Sahib, which are the Sikh prayer book. This is complete disrespect for Gurbani. These SikhNet people do not want to see the truth. They deny all of these un-Sikh-like practices, and they continue to do all of these un-Sikh-like things. This is part of that white tantric yoga that they do over there at Yogi Bhajan's group. This is a great article in the Sikh Free Press that you should read. I'll put a link to it down there at the description of this video. American Yogis Distort Sikh Scripture. Read this. There's a new one today out too. How Yogi Bhajan's Dera has been warned by the occult jathedar about their un-Sikh-like practices dancing to Gurbani. It's a very good article. I'll put a link to that in this description too. Yogi Bhajan did all of these really disgusting phallic drawings. And SikhNet just preys off of these young people. They had young people stuffing those envelopes there at the conference. And Yogi Bhajan was a pervert. These are drawings of his. You can see these are clearly phallic and completely perverted. But yet the Yogi Bhajan people worship him. You can see all these are pictures.
Or it's just total anger, frustration, and insecurity. We sat down with Espanola Sikh member Hari Jiwan Singh Khalsa, who were asked to wear headgear in the Gurdwara or temple. What's going on with America? Sikhism is a religion established in India 500 years ago.
So you can see that in that newscast, which was done a few years ago, when they interviewed Hari Jivan, he had his back to Sri Guru Granth Sahib, first of all, and then they equate this Baba Siri Chand idol with Sikhi, 500-year-old religion, they say. And they had a picture there of the Siri Chand idol. So it's really causing havoc. And they continue to worship this idol over there. And then again, this is that picture there of Guruka and Ekon Karkar worshiping there. These are all pictures of the un-Sikh-like practices that they continually engage in there at Yogi Bhajan's group. Hindu weddings. Yogi Bhajan had Hindu last rites. It goes on and on and on. Now I want to point out how Yogi Bhajan's people have to teach in the Sikh religion as taught by Yogi Bhajan. This is very important. I'll put a link to this in the description to this video too. Thank you for your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.